Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bow Hunt or Die, where I sit next to Justin Czar, the lucky one who's already put down an animal this year. Congratulations, that looked like a great hunt you and Clinton were on.
It was not luck, Todd. It was pure skill.
Oh, right? Man.
No, it was a fun hunt. We had a blast. We had a great time. Good way to start the season. It is weird though, right? You have this build up. You know, and everybody feels that slow build up to the season. You're going through your gear, getting everything ready. We go on this hunt, we shoot some animals, and then we come home and it's like, now what? Like, we got a month and a half till Illinois season opens. You and I have about 3.5 weeks till we leave for Colorado. But even so, I'm
going to try to sneak to Kentucky. Josh Sturgill has told me I could go back to Kentucky to try to get a larger doe.
Josh Sturgill did not tell me that I could go to Kentucky. But
so I am going to. I'm hoping to slip out to Kentucky for a couple of days.
Okay.
Get things warmed up. Maybe.
They start like in a couple days, you know.
No,
right?
the
4th
I just
this
can't
year.
go.
It's early this year, I think.
No, Sonia's messed up with her shoulder at home. I got to wait for another week. So I'm going next week, hopefully, for a couple of days. Then we've got our elk trip coming up.
Yep.
I'm hoping maybe to slip in a quick little Wisconsin hunt. Maybe we can slip out and do a Wisconsin hunt.
You're on a mission.
I'm on a mission this year.
You are on a serious mission.
My shoulder's a little messed up, but I'm going to be okay.
You sure about that? What happened?
Dude, I don't know.
Why don't you tell the folks what happened to your shoulder, Graph?
Oh, man, I was in Vail, Colorado. If you've never been to Vail, Colorado mountain biking, you need to put that on the bucket list of things you do because
sounds
it's
amazing.
Awesome. It is awesome. You take the gondola up to the top, and they got these trails, and this shoulder's kind of sticking up pretty high. I didn't break anything, but it's.
But I want the full story.
Dude,
You're going down the hill.
Chasing Craig, we were going down. The aspen trees are beautiful, and dude, this black bear came out of nowhere and scared the crap out of me, and I
tried to jump over
tree.
him.
No, there was no black bear, but I just was stupid. I came around this turn. I was like, I was screwed. Man, this aspen tree had so many marks on it where other people have hit the tree. They need to remove
and
that.
And you hit it with
tree.
your shoulder?
I couldn't get out of the way quick enough, and I almost broke the pinky finger. So it all messed up. I hit that, went flying forward, and it just went all into the shoulder. And nothing broke. You know, I can still move it, but.
Gotta be careful out there, especially when hunting season is coming.
I know, it's not
funny.
Can't
risk personal injury. We have important things going on. So, speaking of hunting season coming, Todd is finally, after so many months, giving us our first little sneak peek at his new farm that he just bought.
It's a small sneak peek.
So we're getting
Brad
a small
and I had nothing but troubles.
But this is all right. We're getting a small sneak peek, a look into Todd's farm, a look into his brain of how he's setting up his food plot and his tree stand and his entrance. It's a pretty cool segment. Let's check it out right now.
Welcome to my new farm. I've been a little secretive about this spot here because it's been a heck of a long adventure being able to actually get it purchased. But here I am. I'm on it now. I'm very thankful for the people that were willing to sell it to me. I absolutely love this place. And right now I am standing in probably the second favorite spot on this piece of property. You know, when I first started walking the piece before I owned it, there was just something about this beautiful long ridge line up here, the thickets that are actually right behind Brad. There's an ag field, and just on the back side of this, and then I just always was eyeballing up this little 1 acre food plot that I was going to do up here. And the reason why I just like this spot so much is the entry point. I mean, I'm going to be coming from the east. I'll be able to keep my nose right into the wind. I mean, gosh, when I'm literally standing here talking to Brad, I'm like eyeballing up the spot up. I literally can see crab apples over there and crab apples on that tree over there that I didn't even realize were here. They're plums. Those are plum trees. That's what they are. Keeping my nose into the wind, I'm able to come straight up this ridge. Right behind me in this hickory tree is where my stand's going to be, which is going to be ideal because just about every time I've been on this property, when I've been doing scouting and kind of poking my nose around, even when I was in here with Justin turkey hunting, we have spooked deer literally kind of right in front of me, right there in that thicket area. It's probably about 150 yards away. And with this edge, the food plot, and the ag field on the back side of this, it just creates almost a runway through this gap. I've had a trail camera in this gap pretty much from the day that I closed on the property, and it's just been a great spot for catching turkey, deer. It's a hot spot. They're always kind of cutting through here. Seems like most of the big bucks don't go right through that gap. They kind of just fall off the edges. which will be fine, because one of the other little things that I just love about this spot is over here, you got 1, 2, 3 white oaks, and they are loaded with acorns. And those are right on the edge of the field. I mean, man, anytime you can get white oaks dumping on an edge like this, especially when you've got a food plot close to a bedding area, and they're able to just work this line, it's like a money spot. So Brad and I came in here today. I was here about a week ago, killed this plot with Roundup. It's gonna be dead. It's still a little bit green right now, but come back in another week, it's gonna be stone dead. I didn't want to do any disking in here. You know, I've been doing a little bit more of no-till. So we brought the drill here today. It was a complete nightmare getting it over here, and I think Brad was about to kill me about 4 times because about everything we tried didn't work. But finally got the drill up here, drilled in the seed. Before we drilled in the seed, Brad was kind enough to put down about 250, 300 pounds of fertilizer in this 1 acre plot here. So, man, little bit of rain, there's moisture in the ground right now. I think this is going to be just a beautiful plot. Now, one thing I will note with this plot here is only 1/2 of it we planted in brassicas. The other half I'm saving, and I'm going to come back in about 2 weeks, right around that September 1st through September 5th, and I'm going to plant my rye and a little bit of wheat on that right along this edge and on the chute going out. But I'm calling this the gap spot. This is going to be a #1 spot that I'm going to be hunting this fall, because west and northwest winds, I know I can get in here undetected and have just a great hunt, great view. Right here is going to be, actually this is pretty darn close, Brad, to where I think one of the big bucks could actually go down. So stay tuned. We've got a lot more adventures, and we're doing some other things with some of the guys on this piece of property to be able to help me get this baby dialed in. So stay tuned. We are getting close to the favorite time of the year.
Right, Graf, sneaking around out there. Finally give us a little insight into one little food plot. I thought it was kind of cool because I think maybe for me, having already been to the farm when we went turkey hunting, I had an understanding of where that was. So when I saw the map, I was like, okay, this makes sense. The one thing that I did notice though is, dude, you got a pretty good uphill climb to get up to that tree stand. Like, you can't, obviously when you look at the map, you can see the contour lines, but from where you come in down below to go straight up to that tree stand, that's a good walk.
Brad has not been told yet that he's coming on Wednesday, and we're going to cut that trail in getting up there. That has not been shared with Brad just yet. Brad, just FYI, Wednesday, that's happening. Dude, I got 6,000 miles on my bike this year. Cardio's good. I'm not worried about that little climb. You know what?
Yeah.
I am really thinking about how do you just, dude, that ridge is so cool. With the right wind, I should be able to do that.
Well,
should
it
be
just
money.
lays out perfect. So the ridge basically runs north and south, right? So you're coming from the east up to the top of that ridge, and right as you crest to the top, pop in your stand, you've got the food plot out in front, but then further to your west, you've got that really good bedding area. I know when we went in there turkey hunting, I found what I know is a buck bed on that point coming down. So I mean,
that's where you scared that turkey.
Yep, that's where I totally scared the turkey over there.
Could have had a turkey.
So I mean, that was a good spot. So I mean, any deer that are bedded basically to your west, they'll have no idea.
No idea.
I mean, zero clue you're ever even there. They filter out up into your food plot, or they can move kind of north and south along that edge. Obviously, we saw acorns in there as well. So you've kind of got a lot of things going on, and it's just the natural pinch right there. It's just a good spot. It's probably one of the spots I would have picked out.
It's a neat spot. Food plot's coming along. And honestly, I'm not really totally banking on the food plot, right? Like, that's just kind of just an accessory to the area. But I just have a feeling with those white oaks, I have this envision of there being just killer scrapes underneath them. They're going to be eating those acorns, I know for a fact. And then you got to remember, Justin, not only is that little food plot right there, just on the other side of that, I've planted about maybe an acre of beans. So I mean, I'm calling it the gap. I think it's going to be a money spot. But I think the key with this spot is all about the entrance. I'm going to blow some deer out getting to it, because as you know, it's not an easy one to get to. I mean, it is down a long walk through some food, so it's going to mess some things up. And I'm really banking on those other deer.
But yeah, any deer that you spook on your way in are deer that you're not hunting anyways from that stand.
That's right.
Right? So sometimes it's like, where they say you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, whatever, you spook some of those out, but those aren't the deer that you're ultimately hunting from that spot. So, and you can see a long ways. I don't know, it's just and I
cool
think
spot.
on a predominantly west wind, like it's blowing your wind right off that ridge. Right, so I mean, you could hunt that on any sort of west, southwest, west, northwest,
Yes.
even a due south or a due north. It'll be close, but you'll be able to probably get away with it.
Yeah, well, and one thing that you can't see, because Brad and I just ran out of time. It was just, honestly, it was a disaster. We were using a different tractor. The thing didn't fit. I mean, it was a nightmare of a day. But, Tommy named that ridge Rut Ridge. And like Justin said, I mean, it is extremely steep. But I think, like you said, cheating the wind, there's a nice trail that comes, which would be the downward side of the stand. But if those bucks don't want to mess with the food plot or don't want to work that edge and they're just going to run that line,
which they typically do. It's funny how over the years, if you begin to notice these certain things, and anytime you've got a ridge, right? Let's say there's a top and it drops down on either side, you can pretty much count 99% of the time. You go somewhere in the neighborhood of, let's say, 10 to 20 yards down either side of that ridge, and there's going to be a trail running parallel. Right?
Not just on the top.
Not on the top. I mean, especially the bigger deer. I mean, they don't want to be skylined. You're definitely more vulnerable there. They like to run that right over the top, and you can count on it. I mean, I can't tell you how many farms I've been to or pieces of property that I've been to, and you see the same thing just repetitively over and over. So in your case, I mean, your wind could conceivably be going over the top of those deer that are coming kind of on that downwind side, and you'd still be able to get a shot at them if there's a buck cruising that during the rut that doesn't want to be up top. Yeah. So
keep that in mind with those ridges. It's a fun spot, and like I told you, Justin, I mean, this year, because it's a new farm, and I think Clinton alluded this a little bit too in some of his videos, is, you know what, I'm just not going to go in there and do what I typically do. Put food plots all over the place. There's so much to learn. I am getting pictures of some nice bucks that I'm going to be able to chase, so that's cool. They'll throw some photos of those up there. Yeah, but it is just, I figured pick 2 or 3 spots. I want to get you out there. I want to get some of the other teammates out there. We talked about doing a little segment of letting each one of you guys grab 40 acres and pick the tree that I put a stand in and see what happens and try to get other people's advice. But
I'm Todd's way of getting us to hang his stands for him.
I put $1,000 purse on it. I'm throwing up $1,000. If you pick a tree, I hang a stand and I kill a deer out of it. I mean, how can you beat that?
Fair enough. We'll take it.
How can you beat it?
A couple things I think you touched on. One is with what Clinton said and kind of what you're doing. A lot of guys get a new piece of property, and I get it. You're like super gung-ho to just go in and do all this work. And you did it on your last farm, right? You were like, hey, sweet, I got a farm, and I go in and I do all this work, and then you end up being like, oh man, I wish I would have done this different or that's different. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to learn what the deer movements are. Like, you can go scout it once or twice or 10 times in the spring and think you know what's going on, but until you've had a chance to actually sit it during the fall and get an idea of what the neighbors are doing, what your deer are doing, where they're coming from and going to, like, you really don't have everything you need to know to make those decisions. So sometimes it pays off to just be patient, right? And Todd's not a very patient guy, so I'm sure it's hard for you, right? But I mean, wait and then go in once you have a better understanding, and you can just make more informed decisions.
And I see it happening already. I mean, there's a couple spots where I'm just notoriously seeing deer right now already, and they probably would not be spots that I would actually put the food plots in and so forth, but like, why try to manipulate the deer to go do something different than what they already want to do? It's just stupid. So
yeah, absolutely. If you
go where they want to
hunting them on their natural travel patterns or natural tendencies is
makes
a huge
way
thing.
more sense.
One thing I do want to point out that you talked about in your video and mentioned here is just acorns right now. Like the acorns, at least where we're at here in northern Illinois, the white oak acorns are dropping like crazy where I hunt. My cameras everywhere are dead as it can be. They're off the beans. The beans are starting to yellow. They're completely off the beans. But I moved one camera onto acorns the other night, like a hot white oak acorn tree falling. And I went over there and I could hear, dude, they were falling. The whole, but I wasn't finding a lot of them on the ground. I was like, what the heck? They're falling like crazy. I threw up a camera. I've been getting 100, 120 pictures a night of these bucks. Just absolutely. They're bedding down and getting up and eating. I mean, it's crazy how much they're on the acorns.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want to watch a great segment, I don't remember the segment we put up last year on early season success. They'll put the link up or they'll put a note up here. But we did that video last year, and I mean, that was just a perfect example of know where your deer are, get in there and shoot one open.
I just wish Illinois season opened a little earlier, because usually by October 1st, the acorns, at least where I hunt, most of them are down, and they're not on them as hot as they are right now. Like the next 2 to 3 weeks, it seems like, is peak acorn drop here, and then it starts to taper off a little bit. So it is what it is. I wish we opened a little earlier, but we don't. Speaking of seasons, though, that open earlier, we're going to check in with Matt Millard down in Tennessee. He's going to give us an update on what he's been doing this year. Gives us a little insight of what he did last year on a public land, in Illinois.
I got some high hopes for Matt. I mean, I really do, man.
No
Come
pressure,
on.
Matt. No
Matt,
pressure.
I'm putting the
killed a
pressure
buck
on you.
last year.
I know, but I
Relax.
just expect more out of him.
He tried to kill one in Illinois. It just didn't go as planned. He's going to talk about that. So let's join Matt now for a quick update on his season.
Well, long time no see, everybody. This is Matt Millard, Bow Hunter Die team member. And you guys haven't seen much of me since October last year, and that's not because I was not hunting. I had a big trip to Illinois planned and hunted public ground, grinded hard for 3 weeks, and just didn't work out. I had some close calls with a few nice bucks. Didn't see nearly as many deer as normal up there, and it seemed like it was a bad acorn year, and it had the deer a lot more spread out than what I have experienced in the past. So made for some tough hunting. But with that said, the very last day of the hunt, I was hunting that morning, and then I was going to pack up camp and head home. And wouldn't you know it, hunting in the rain, had my camera covered, everything, and I had a really nice buck come in on the exact same path that I walked in on, dead downwind. It should not have happened. The deer walks right by my tree. I'm trying to uncover the camera, the whole nine, and ended up getting a shot off at that deer at a little bit longer distance. It was out close to 40 yards. Hit him just a little bit low and about 3 or 4 inches back. With the rain and everything, I let him lay for 6 or 7 hours that night, or till that evening. Went in, jumped the deer up. He had gotten onto private land and went through a whole hassle of trying to get permission, and it was just a fiasco, and I was not able to recover the deer. And then generally when I get home from that Midwest trip, my hunting here isn't that great. And wouldn't you know it, while I was gone, I had, you know, the big deer I had been chasing here in Tennessee had showed up. So that's just the way it goes. Last year was a really frustrating year to not have the success that I would like to have had on my first year as a member of the team. But we are going to try and fix that this year. So we are headed over to the property close to my house that I spend most of my time hunting here in Tennessee. We're going to put out some stealth cam fusions, put batteries in ones that are already out. I've got a Lone Wolf Assault that I have to take down. Need to replace straps on sticks. You know, just get this whole process started. It's Father's Day, June the 20th, so we're kind of got our eyes towards deer season now, and we're going to do our best to have a great year. So come along, and we're going to see what we can get done. Alright, so these 3 cameras have been out here. I've got 3 fusions out here on this property that's been here since last deer season. So this is the first one we come to. It's still here. Obviously the batteries are dead. I've got some Energizer lithiums, which is the only way to go for these trail cameras, especially cellular ones, because they drain so much battery. And this camera is labeled Stealth Cam 2. I always like to number my cameras so I know which one I'm dealing with. So let's go to the command app. Go to plans. Hang on. Account. You can see I've got the 3 stealth cams on there, and we're going to go up here to account, plans. That's Stealth Cam 1. We're going to go to Stealth Cam 2, suspended. We're going to activate it. Are you sure you want to active this plan? Your camera will remain inactive until data plan is resumed. We activated number 2. Well, you can already see we've got a full charge on batteries. This camera is so simple, it's stupid. All you got to do is switch it to on, and then it starts going through this process. We might have to resync everything. Oh, with the data plan, it's showing the data plan not active because we just activated it. So now it's showing active. Let's try it again. But that's all you do on these cameras is just switch them to on. Once you got an active data plan for that camera, switch it to on. It just goes through these 3 blinking lights, and then all of your settings and everything is done from the app. And it allows them to keep the cost really low on these cameras. And it makes it very, very nice. This is the first time I've used them though where the batteries have went dead and I've deactivated a plan and reactivated. So that quick. You just saw how quick that was. I activated it and we're already running. It's unbelievable how fast these things work. It's still there. It's exactly what you hope to find when you're coming to take a tree stand down, is that it's still there. So it's still there. I actually just jumped the deer. So far everything's good. I'm gonna toss I always take a stick down in the event that I ever do leave a tree stand, because it's rare that I do. But I brought my stick to take it down and brought my hunter safety system lineman's rope. So hopefully we can be as safe as possible. We're going to check all the straps on the way up, and hopefully nothing is too damaged from tree growth, because I just hung it in December or January or something. So let's get after it. Well, while this camera is activating, I'm just going to leave it here. There's no sense in me moving it right now because I just don't know where to put it. I don't have any mineral sights or anything like that out. So this tree is always like an annual scrape tree and licking branch. It's actually one of these branches out here. But I'm going to take some of this buck balm forehead gland on a scent wick and just see if I can get it started on one of these trees right here, and see if we can pick up a few of these deer. This field should have already been mowed for hay, so it should be getting mowed any time. And then this camera should be good in this spot. This grass is just really high. I don't know why they haven't mowed it for hay yet. But I'd say that's going to happen any time now. So while the camera's finishing activating, we're going to go ahead and throw this up, see if we can get some pictures. Well, there you have it. I would say today was a huge success. We were able to locate all 3 cameras that we come over here for, was able to get batteries in them, get them up and running. I can't say enough about how simple those Stealth Cam Fusions are. Was able to find my Lone Wolf Assault that I had hung at the end of season. And now I can do the maintenance on it, maybe replace cables. All the straps need to be replaced on it and the sticks. But we're looking towards deer season now. Like I said, it's Father's Day weekend. This is kind of the time for me where I start thinking about deer season. So appreciate you guys watching. Until next time, bow hunter die.
All right, cool update from Matt, putting the cell cameras to work. I literally just did the same thing. I had a bunch of mine that were out like during turkey season that I had turned off for the summer, reactivated them now for the fall. As the days are getting cooler and the testosterone is rising, we got to get those cameras back out there. So I know, like you, man, I'm looking forward to watching along and seeing kind of what Matt does here this fall. You know, unfortunately, we had
dude, he's a deer killer. I mean, just after seeing him this weekend and
he
meeting
probably
him,
would have killed one
this
this weekend if we didn't have our team meeting. We scheduled our team meeting during the Tennessee Velvet hunt.
That was probably not very nice.
And Matt came to the meeting like a good team member, but unfortunately he had a nice velvet buck walk right in front of one of his tree stands while he was, I think, at the airport going home on Sunday. So we apologize to Matt. We cost you potentially a nice buck. We hurt ourselves, but hey, there's a long season ahead of us. Matt's got, you know, some trips planned. He spends a lot of his time in Southern Illinois during the rut. hunting public
Good.
land. So
Keep
really,
them down there by those guys.
well, that's where there's more deer anyways, and more public land to hunt. We
So
don't have
many
any
better
up here.
deer down there.
Anyways, that's it for today, guys. Season is coming very, very soon. So if you haven't been out already, getting your tree stands ready, make sure you wear your hunter safety system, wear your harnesses, be safe out there. We will see you next time right here on Bowhunter Down.
Action.